Mesdames et Messieurs, l'hymne national. Everyone to remain standing for the renewal of the Girl Guide promise.
I promise to do my best to be true to myself, my beliefs in Canada. I will take action for a better world and respect the guiding law.
Please be seated. Well, thank you, everyone, and I congratulate you for joining in with O Canada. It's a nice way to start any ceremony, and it's always better when people join in and sing. Chers invités, je me présente Richard Alway. J'ai le grand privilège et l'honneur de présider la Commission des lieux et monuments historiques du Canada, et je fais office de maître de cérémonie pour cette occasion. Distinguished guests, present and former members of Girl Guides of Canada, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome on this rather cool autumn afternoon to the Historic Sites and Monuments Board of Canada Plaque unveiling ceremony honoring the Girl Guides movement in Canada. My name is Richard Alway, and I have the great privilege of serving as chair of the Historic Sites and Monuments Board of Canada, and I'll act as Master of Ceremonies for this afternoon's event. Laissez-moi maintenant présenter les participants à la cérémonie d'aujourd'hui. I now have the pleasure of introducing the platform party, and I'm going to ask each member to rise and remain standing until the list is complete. And I would ask all of you to withstand the natural impulse to cheer each name to the echo when it is read, and instead withhold your applause until the end, when we can give the entire platform party a warm guide's welcome. First, Dr. Roberta Bondar, Honorary Life Member of the Girl Guides of Canada, in my opinion, a Canadian hero, and the world's first neurologist in space. Ms. Pamela Rice, Chief Commissioner of Girl Guides of Canada. Ms. Paula Sanderson, Adult Guider with the Girl Guides of Canada. Ms. Jill Zamalovitz, Chief Executive Officer, Girl Guides of Canada, and Ms. Andrea Chakma, Girl Guides of Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, your platform party. Please be seated. And there are some other special guests that I want to give a special welcome to, and I'm going to ask them to rise as a group, and I'll read out their names, and I'm going to ask you to recognize them as well. First of all, the former Chief Executive Officer of Girl Guides of Canada, Deborah Del Duca, and past Chief Commissioners, and I'm going to ask them to rise, Joan Howell, Marcia Brooks, Elaine Patterson, and Barbara Hayes. Please. Le passé du Canada est riche en personnages et en événements de toutes sortes qui ont fait de notre pays ce qu'il est. En tant que Canadiens, la connaissance que nous avons de ce passé, de ses succès et de ses échecs, vient enrichir notre compréhension du monde dans lequel nous vivons. You know, I think what we're doing this afternoon is, in fact, very important to us as Canadians, to us as a people. Our own history and how we remember our past is important because it helps define the way we think of ourselves as a society. The straight fact is that history is to the nation as memory is to the individual. Without it, we simply cannot know ourselves. But using it as a common foundation, we can together try to build a future bright with possibility and promise. I'd like to take just a moment to explain the work of the Historic Sites Board to you. Created in 1919, the Historic Sites and Monuments Board of Canada advises the Minister of the Environment and the Canadian government on the commemoration of nationally significant aspects of Canada's past. Thus, for almost a century, the installation of board plaques has been a cornerstone of the federal government's effort to formally commemorate those parts of Canadian history which have been recognized as having pan-Canadian or national significance. Today, we are here to welcome the Girl Guide movement in Canada to Canada's family of places, persons, and events of national historic significance. And this afternoon, on behalf of the Government of Canada, the Minister of the Environment and Climate Change and Minister responsible for Parks Canada, the Honourable Catherine McKenna, I am very proud to present this plaque to the Guides movement as a symbol of recognition and celebration of Canadian heritage. Over 100 years ago, when Lord Baden-Powell began the Boy Scouts program, there was an incredible interest from young girls wanting to join as well. When they were denied entry, Lord Baden-Powell was swamped with letters from young women asking for a group of their own, some with a particular caveat, one of which read as follows: "We can ride and swim and climb a tree and track a man, but when you write back, please don't say anything about sewing and lessons and housework, because those are the things Mother says we should do, and we hate them." Well, the result, as we know, was that girls and women around the world were inspired to work together to form the Girl Guides movement that emphasized the outdoors, character building, and self-reliance. The Guides inspired young women to become responsible citizens, able to provide leadership and service to the community, whether local, national, or global. The Girl Guides is now one of the largest youth movements in our country and throughout the world. Canada's guiding program has fostered friendship, encouraged recreation and training, and prepared millions of girls and women to meet the challenges they face in their lives head-on. Over the course of the last century, these young women have supported relief efforts during the First and Second World Wars and the Great Depression. They have represented the very best Canada has to offer on the world stage by promoting international understanding and respect through knowledge, compassion, and friendship with girls from other countries. They have become entrepreneurs, guaranteeing the financial independence and security of the Girl Guides of Canada through the sale of the famous Girl Guide cookie. In fact, these famous cookies have provided comfort and a taste of home to troops overseas and have even traveled to space with Dr. Bondar. The Government of Canada is proud to recognize the people, places, and events that have shaped Canada, and today we officially commemorate the Girl Guide movement in Canada as an event of national historic significance. As I look around the room this afternoon, I see the future leaders of our country. Be inspired by the girls and women who have come before you, and become strong, inspirational role models for the girls and women and all the future generations who will follow you. On behalf of the Government of Canada, I want to thank you for your dedication and service to your communities, and thank all of you for being here today. And I would now like to invite Girl Guide Miss Andrea Chapman to speak on behalf of the Girl Guides of Canada. Andrea.
Hello, my name is Andrea Chapman. I'm a ranger as well as girl assistant with the 284th Guides in Mississauga. I'm also chair of the Girl Forum for Girl Guides of Ontario. On behalf of Girl Guides of Canada, Guide to Canada, I am so honored to welcome you to today's unveiling of the Historic Sites and Monuments Board of Canada's Plaque. It's an incredible recognition of the historic importance of guiding in Canada. For the past 11 years, guiding has been such a huge part of my life. So to say that I'm thrilled to be a part of this celebration is definitely an understatement. In today's world, life can get pretty complicated for girls. I know for me that guiding has played a really big part in helping me navigate this. It's a place where every girl is accepted, respected, and supported. There are no cliques, no competitions, no tryouts. Girls can find their voice, speak up, and take action on issues that matter to them. For me, it's been all about making real connections with girls my own age. And now that I'm a ranger, it's a place where I can give back to the organization and hopefully help provide the same experience for the younger members. I've had some pretty amazing experiences in guiding. It has empowered me to be the best that I can be and continue to learn and explore different avenues of life. I've had the chance to get out of my comfort zone and try new things. I've developed leadership and organization skills. Along the way, I've come to learn and value what it means to be a Canadian, and I've had so much fun. I truly believe that without guiding, I would not be the person I am today. It's taught me and thousands of other girls that I can do anything I set my mind to. That's why I love Girl Guides. I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the incredible commitment of the thousands of adult members and volunteers that have brought guiding to life over the last 100 years. Thank you to all of you here and all the members and staff who are participating online for joining us today to mark our history and celebrate the incredible places guiding will take us in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrea. And now it's my great pleasure to ask Paula Sanderson to speak to the historical significance of the Girl Guide movement in Canada. So, Paula, please come forward.
Good afternoon. My name is Paula Sanderson. I'm a guider with the 70th Toronto Pathfinders and 3rd Toronto Treks. I'm also a member of Ontario Council. I joined Girl Guides when I was 5, and I was so proud to put on my pink Sparks uniform. 20 years later, I still feel a spark when I put on my guiding uniform. We are so glad you could join us today to celebrate Girl Guides of Canada, Guides to Canada, our country's leading organization for girls and women. For more than 100 years, guiding has been the place where girls and young women can challenge themselves, put their ideas into action, and gain the skills that allow them to fulfill their potential. The result? Girls who are confident, resourceful, and courageous, and who truly make a difference in the world. From the beginning, Girl Guide members have been pushing boundaries to achieve great things. Guiding got its start in 1909, when a bold and brave group of girls marched at a Boy Scout rally at the Crystal Palace in the United Kingdom, demanding a program for girls. On a personal note, this event has always captured my imagination, so much so that when I was in London in 2014, I made a point of visiting Crystal Palace Park. As I stood there, I could most definitely feel the connection to my guiding roots. In 1910, the very first girl guiding unit in Canada was formed in St. Catharines, Ontario. By 1912, there were units in every province. Since then, generations of Canadian girls and women have made an incredible difference on their communities and around the world. When the First World War broke out, Canadian Girl Guide members worked in munitions factories and learned to bandage wounds. During the rough economic times of the 1930s, Canadian girls collected food and clothing for children in need. And with the outbreak of the Second World War, Canadian Girl Guides once again leapt into action, contributing donations for the purchase of 2 air ambulances and making clothing for children affected by the bombings in Europe. Over the past 160 years, 7 million Canadian girls and women have been involved in guiding. Their participation has prepared them to meet the challenges they face in life head on, and they have gone on to do extraordinary things. They are our mothers, our neighbors, our doctors, engineers, police officers, entrepreneurs, and artists. They are our mentors, volunteers, and leaders, active in every aspect of our community and society. They are our trailblazers and change makers and mark many firsts for females in Canada. In fact, we are honored today to have Canada's first female astronaut, Dr. Roberta Bondar, here to celebrate with us. And Dr. Bondar is a lifetime member of Girl Guides of Canada. But it's not only the big achievements we celebrate today. Over the past century, there are a million ways that Girl Guides in Canada have contributed to the fabric of this country, who we are, and what we believe in as Canadians. Today, over 94,000 girls and women from coast to coast to coast are Girl Guide members. So, what do Girls in Guiding do? They participate in tree plant events and shoreline cleanups. They design and make mittens for local shelters and organize book drives. They learn about financial literacy. They explore the world of science and technology. They discover how their actions can have a positive impact on the environment and their community. They have meaningful discussions about mental health. They participate in activities that build character and confidence, and as they grow to take their place in the world. Empowering, challenging, and inspiring. That's what guiding is all about. We celebrate our history and the achievements of today with great pride. Looking forward, Girl Guides of Canada will continue to invest in girls, to empower girls in this generation and generations to come. Whether they are inspiring to the small things in life or the big things, we believe in the power of girls. And at Guiding, we'll continue to make a mark on Canada and the world, one girl at a time. I know that each and every one of you here has a very special reason for participating in today's celebration. On behalf of Girl Guides of Canada, I'd like to thank the Government of Canada and Parks Canada for granting us this historic recognition. Here's to another 100 years of guiding.
Well, thank you, Paula. Those are inspiring words delivered with enthusiasm, and I know that through Facebook they're being streamed across the country, and I hope many people have had a chance to hear your inspirational message. And now we come to a highlight of this afternoon's ceremony, and it's my enormous pleasure to introduce and to call to the podium someone who needs no introduction to Canadians anywhere, but particularly to those of us in this room, Dr. Roberta Bondar. Doctor, please come forward.
Well, thank you for those kind words. I must say it's really exciting to be here this afternoon. I'm just going to walk this microphone over a little bit because I kind of relate to these uniforms. I know you'll find this hard to believe, but actually I was in the guiding movement over 60 years ago. You know, I think about 100 years, and I'm thinking I was only 40 years old when I was doing that. But I've had a wonderful life experience. I thought maybe I'd just share a couple of insights with you all. First, I want to thank the former Chief Commissioners for being here, Elaine, Marcia, Barbara, Joan. It's so wonderful to see you still supporting this wonderful organization that you headed for so long with such inspiration and dignity yourselves. You're great role models. And Debbie, nice to see you again. Thank you. For my fellow guests on the platform, it was a pleasure to meet all of you today. And for the rest of you, you are my role models. Maybe you think I am yours, but trust me, as the years go by, we understand that we need each other. We need the diversity, not just of cultures, but we need the diversity of age. Because age brings us wisdom, regardless of what age that is. So thank you all very much for sharing this time in my life with me this afternoon. I wanted to ask you, mention was made of me taking the cookies in space. Did any of you know what my favorite cookie was in space? Vanilla, chocolate, mint. What do you think? What is this? Chocolate, I guess so. Yeah, in fact, the Girl Guide cookies were so important to me when I flew in space. There was an experiment that I was doing, and I really needed to have another subject. And so there was a pilot on board who really liked the vanilla cookies. So I used to pawn off all the vanilla cookies so I could get his time to be my subject for my experiments in space. So I was never a fan of the vanilla cookies, but chocolate, no one else got those except me in my space flight. So I know you've seen pictures about that of me in space. But do you know what the other thing was I took in space with me that was Girl Guide-ish? Well, years ago, when I was a brownie, and I was going up to Girl Guides, guess what I got? I got my brownie wings. And it was the first set of wings I ever owned. Before I got my pilot's wings, before I flew in space, and I flew those brownie wings in space with me. And I haven't quite donated them back to Girl Guides. It will come, because they still inspire me as my first set of wings. In fact, they really set the tone for the rest of my life. I was very proud of all the badges I would earn. I was very proud about being in an organization with other girls. Mind you, I'd never visited headquarters of Girl Guides. That had to wait till I was a little older. And then I wore this uniform. A special uniform for me. Because in that uniform, I actually received my gold cord at Guides. And in those days, that was like the best thing you could do as a Girl Guide. That was like the highest honor you could achieve. And I remember going to London, Ontario and receiving my gold cord from the Lieutenant Governor of the province. My sister already had her gold cord, but it was presented at the same ceremony. And I remember crossing the stage and shaking the hand of the Lieutenant Governor, and she smiled at my sister, and when I got up there she said, "Are you twins?" 15 months age difference. And I said, "No, but we're sisters." You know, I sort of snarled at her. "How dare you call us twins?" But we kind of looked alike, except the thing that really distinguished us was that I had a trillium on my pocket, and my sister had a scarlet tanager. So I thought, you know, what's the big deal? Don't they know that she's different than me? Different patrol? I'm a trillium. So it was really fun to be a Girl Guide, and I had a lot of really great activities at camp, a lot of exciting adventures. But you see the far one, that's actually the type of uniform that I wore. I'm from a small city in the near north called Sault Ste. Marie. And in the Sioux, they had one ranger group because the city was pretty small. And when the guides came through, they got to be a ranger. Now, when I got to university, Elaine was a land ranger. And so we kind of met at university. We've been friends since the 1960s. That's going way, way back in history. But nonetheless, the reason why the guides, when they became rangers, wanted that outfit, why do you think? It wasn't because we were on the ocean. The hat. So here I am wanting to be a pilot. I got my brownie wings, and here I have to go and wear a Sea Ranger outfit? Like, oh, get real. And so you can imagine my thrill when one summer, my sister and I applied for Girl Guide camp. And there was an international camp, and we applied for a national camp, and we got into the national camp. It was an air ranger camp, but they didn't have enough air rangers, so they allowed a few stragglers called Sea Rangers to go in, and it was the best experience at that summer camp, because here I was, a Sea Ranger going into this Air Ranger camp, and they brought in this man from the armed forces who had a parachute, and you got to put the parachute on in the wind, they'd pull a canopy and the wind could pull you across. There wasn't one Air Ranger that volunteered. So my sister and I, like we're like this, hey, you know, we'll show those Air Rangers. So we put on the canopy, we put on the parachute harness, we're pulled across the field, and we did all kinds of daring do things as Sea Rangers, when my sister and I really wanted to be Air Rangers all our lives. So there we go, that was the sort of the first thing. There weren't Air Cadets or anything else. So my first taste of being having anything to do with the air was with the Air Rangers at that summer camp. And after that, I must say that looking at the stars at night at camp outside when we were tenting, it kind of always made me feel that I had some connection between being in this wonderful organization and being able to reach beyond. I developed self-confidence in Girl Guides that I had in school because you could try out things in guides with a safety net. Nobody was there to yell at you or to tell you you broke the rules or do this, that. There is a wonderful organization, and I loved every minute of being out of doors and doing things. And I just wanted to end this by letting you know that my future is, I hope, fairly long, and hopefully we'll do some more wonderful things with guides. But I also want to tell you that it is an unusual event for someone to do the kind of thing that I've done. There have been about, well, what are there, over 5 billion people on the planet. About 500 have gone into space. 10% have been women. And right now, there are no women in the Canadian astronaut program. So there's been a new call for astronauts, and we're hoping that in the two they pick, they're either both going to be women, but at least one should be a woman, because there's so many qualified women that could contribute so much to the history of our country and the history of the world. So when we do things for ourselves when we're growing up and we're very excited and we're very passionate, we've heard some very passionate speeches today, we have to also think that we are there for the world. We're not just here for our unit, we're not just here for our city or our country, we're here for the broader good of the planet. And when you have an experience like I was able to have, then you'll understand that when I stand up here, or when you stand up here, there are things you do that are making society better. And I hopefully will continue to do that through my photography, through my connection to the environment. Parks Canada has been a wonderful partner with me in the past when I photographed all of Canada's national parks right at the turn of the millennium. And I hold those images near and dear to my heart. In fact, my foundation uses them as we go across the country and show people the beauty of the environment that we have here, very special in Canada, and also to our international partners to try to bring them to Canada to enjoy our part of the world as well. Whenever you get the opportunity and you meet other people who are guiders, or guides, or brownies, or sparks, or rangers, or whatever the new titles may be in the years to come, know that you have one thing in common. You believe in yourselves, and you believe in opening up the world to others through the eyes of a confident, beautiful human being. That's what Guides has given me, and I know that's what Guides is giving you. Thank you.
That was a remarkable address, and perhaps, Dr. Bondar, you planted a seed there among some of the girls about their future in terms of the space program. It's amazing to think that in this day and age there's not a woman in the Canadian space program today, especially after you blazed the trail more than a year ago. And we look forward to that kind of participation in the future. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the climax of this afternoon's ceremony, and I'm going to ask all the members of the platform party to gather around the plaque, just off to the side there, and we'll proceed with the unveiling of the plaque. And while that is being prepared for, I'm going to explain that in just a moment, because I noticed that most of you, like me, did not bring opera glasses this afternoon, and therefore you won't be able to read the plaque text when it's unveiled. So I've got a couple of volunteers who are going to come forward just after you've unveiled the plaque. Sarah Dagan and Pamela Rice, who will read the plaque text in our two official languages. But now, with the drum roll, we will start from each side, and let's go from the bottom and over the top. 1, 2, 3. Very good. It's a little bit like a wedding now. Their time. Very good. Thank you. Please come back. And Sarah and Pamela, if you can come to the microphone for the plaque text. I assume someone's giving you a copy of it.
The Girl Guide movement in Canada. The Girl Guides is one of the largest youth movements both in Canada and around the world. The guiding program is based on the scouting principles of Lord Baden-Powell, which emphasizes the outdoors, character building, good citizenship, and self-reliance. Since 1910, the organization has provided Canadian girls and women with strong inspirational role models in order to nurture responsible, service-oriented citizens and community leaders. Headquartered in Toronto, Girl Guides of Canada has units in every province and has been largely funded throughout much of its history through sales of famous Girl Guide cookies.
Le mouvement des guides au Canada. Le guidisme est un grand mouvement jeunesse au Canada et ailleurs. Ce programme est fondé sur les principes du scoutisme de Lord Baden-Powell qui privilégie le plein air, la formation de caractère, le civisme et l'autonomie. Depuis 1910, cette organisation a offert des modèles forts et inspirants aux Canadiens afin de former les citoyens et des leaders responsables et dévoués. Les Guides du Canada, dont le siège se trouve à Toronto, sont présents dans chaque province et territoire. La vente de leurs fameux biscuits a servi à leur financement durant la majeure partie de leur histoire.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the formal part of our ceremony. I want to thank all of you for being here this afternoon and for being such an attentive and appreciative audience. Please join us at the reception, which follows immediately just outside this room. Mesdames et messieurs, we are adjourned. Thank you again for coming this afternoon. Merci et bonjour.